Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this webinar to see how we can go from a multiple list to a single list. My name is Katelyn, and I'm the Customer Success Manager here in Flexmail. And my job is just to support you and see where we can help you. So don't be surprised that if I call you in the near future, just to check up and see how everything is going and if it was all clear. And if you have any issues, let us know. You can always send me an email and we can set up a call if it's more individual. I do want to thank you for understanding that this webinar will be in English, as we have many languages. If you do want a separate one in your language, just let us know. If you want colleagues or anything like that to have a separate call, let me know and we'll be happy to help you. So today we'll go through a couple of things, which is definitely show you a little bit more of the release. As you've seen that we've communicated that we have a new layout, a new interface. We'll of course go through the contact converter. That's a very important topic, I think, for many. Segmentation, how it works and how you can do it. And then we'll go also in a live demo to show you all of this, and the support is just a manual to show you how you can find information easily, and we'll have in the end a Q&A live to see where there's more questions about. I do have my colleagues Claudia and Bart with me that will be supporting me throughout the presentation, answering your questions. So you will find a Q&A tab normally below on your screen where you can ask all your questions. If you didn't understand something or something you want more information on, please do ask. They're there to support you as well. If you do have something more personal that we have to look at it more in depth, just let us know again and we'll go through it with you on a personal and individual basis. I will have for the presentation 3 polls. It's to know a little bit more insight on where everybody is and why you're in this webinar, so we can guide the presentation in a more specific way of what the group wants. So I'll launch a first poll, which is the topics, as you've already seen what the topics are. I'm curious to know where the interest is, and I'll just do a couple of minutes, not too long, to see where to really focus on. Normally you'll see a screen pop up. It might be if you are through a phone or something like that, that you won't see the polls, but I'll tell you what the polls are and what the results are so you can follow with us. So today, the first one is, which topic interests you the most? Is it the new look, the contact converter, the segmentation, the live demo, or support? Give a couple more seconds as it's just to have a quick overview. And I would love to have more time to show you the live demo, as it's easier to explain and to show you a step-by-step guide of everything. Okay, I think almost all of you already voted, which is great. Thank you so much. Will give me a better insight where to focus on. Great, okay. I think I'll end the poll. I really want to go into as much of information as I can. And this is just an added value for me and for everybody to know where we're at. So I'll end the poll now and I'll share the results with you. There you go. Normally you see the screen of the poll. So it's a very, the 43% of you wants the contact converter, a little bit more information on that. So we'll go through that. That's in the presentation and the live demo. The segmentation also very important. And then in the live demo, we'll see all of the above at the new look. So great. We're all on the same page. Stop sharing it and we'll go and continue with our presentation. I have the first one is just a preview, a screenshot on the new release and on the new interface. So you'll see that now there's only 4 tabs available, and I'll show you what is underneath and where you can find everything in the live demo. But it's just a quick preview. You will see that the desktop will be different with each one of you as you have different contexts, the amount, your campaigns, and all of that. So this is just a quick preview to show you how our new Flexmail looks like. I won't go much into detail on this one right now. I'll do that in the live demo. So one of the big ones, or the biggest one, let's say, it was a contact converter that you might have lots of questions on how to do it, or not sure why, and all those kind of questions. So I do have another poll. It's only 3. So the second one is, what is the reason why you haven't gone through the contact converter yet? Just want to see where everybody is right now. The answers that the poll has is, I've already went through the contact converter. I'm afraid to lose data. I don't know how to do it. I'm not an admin. Wish I had more information to why this is needed. I first need to have a closer look at my contact data, and I haven't found the time yet. So you can choose from those. I'm sure there could be lots of mix-up answers, but just have a quick overview of where to focus on. And I'll share the results with you soon. I think almost everybody voted, which is great. Thank you so much. Wait a couple more minutes for the last one so they have the time to read it and give their answer. And I think for almost all of them, not everyone, but it just, again, for a quick overview. So let's end the poll, and I'll share the results with you. I do see that, and you'll see it too on your screen, that a lot of you haven't found the time yet, which is okay. We can also support you. That time might be because you have to go through data or the person is not there. I know a few of you are on holidays or just arrived. So I can totally understand that. Then I'm not an admin. Of course, it's important that you are the admin to go through it, or check up with your admin if she or he has a time to go through it, so you can start with a new, fresh interface and continue sending those great, successful campaigns to your contacts. So a few of you also are afraid to lose data. We'll talk about that. You have nothing to worry about your data, but I'll show you a step-by-step guide in the live demo on how to go through the contact converter, and hopefully you will understand how to do it and have more information on why and why this is very necessary to do. Stop sharing the results and we'll go back to the presentation. So with the contact converter, I have 4 screenshots available to just show you the main steps that you'll be doing. Afterwards, I'll show you really each step-by-step to go through the contact converter and how to do it. The importance of this contact converter, I just want to clear it up that it's not because we have a new interface that we now tell everyone to go through the contact converter to actually access the new interface. It's related with the GDPR. So we want to be GDPR compliant, as well as you, and for your contact, it's very important to be protected with this law, as we've already communicated a couple of years ago. So we're all aware that this is very important. So one of the main things is that now to be GDPR compliant, it's to have one data list. That's why we're saying that we're going from multiple lists to a single list. It's nothing to worry about. It won't change your structure or anything like that. The lists are just going to become segments. We'll talk about that more in depth later as well. But that's why it's so important. It's a GDPR law to be all GDPR compliant and protect the contact's information. And for you, it's also very important to be protected by that. So you can send out all those campaigns and emails to the contacts that really want to hear from you. So on the screen, you will see the 4th screenshot that I was telling you about, which are the main steps to go through the contact converter. First, you'll have overview of all your lists that you have now in your Flexmail. You will be able to select or deselect the ones that you no longer need. So it is important, like some of you said, we haven't found the time yet. I would suggest to really check the list, which are like outdated that you really don't use. It's a good way to clean up your database because there's no need to have contacts and in your Flexmail if you don't longer need them. So it's a spring cleaning, which is usually once a year. So the good thing is this is only a one-time cleanup, and you'll have a much, much better overview of all your contacts and not have to go through old ones and things like that. The next one will be creating the segments. So your list will just become segments. So if you do have a list, that will be a segment. And if you already had a segment underneath that list, it will become a subsegment. So we will just change the name list to segment. That's all it is. It's all in a name. So you do have the possibility still to have contacts in different segments. That's fine. Even if you only have one database or one list, you can still have your contact in different segments. That's no problem. So it's still the way that you're used to it. It's just a switch of name. So it's very important that you understand that as well. With the cleanup, it is gonna make sure that your contacts are only once in your database, or in one list. They're still there, so all the information is up to date and accurate, and you cannot have different types of information for one contact. That's the main purpose of the contact converter. But again, you can have them in different segments. That's no problem at all. You'll have afterwards that you created all these segments. You'll have the overview of what you are converting, how many lists are going to be converted and how many segments they will be created from those lists. You'll just have to check and see if everything's okay, and you can then wrap it up, choose your language, and then go into the new interface and start again with all your campaigns. Within this process, I just want to say that if you do have an API connected, make sure that the person that is in charge of that is with you or knows that you're going through, because there's a few changes that will happen. We'll have everything available, all the information on our manual, how to do this and what needs to be changed. Or if you have questions, please let us know and send us an email. We can help you with that further. Just let the person know that you're going through the contact converter so you can change that API and adapt it to new ones so you can have a flawless rundown with the contact converter. I'll go more into that again later, so you will see how it all works in a step-by-step basis. But this is just a quick overview so you can already see what we could do or why we're doing this or having you go through it. The segments was another important one that you would like to have more information on, and we'll go through that in the live demo. We'll be the contact converter and the segmentation. I'll show you a few examples of that. I will end with the last poll. So afterwards, you'll be done with the polls and you'll just be able to see the live demo and ask the questions that you want. So if you just joined, there's a Q&A and below a button where my colleagues Claudia and Bart will be happy to answer all of your questions if something is not clear, if I went too fast or something like that. So please go ahead and ask your questions. That's why we're here. And I'll start the last poll. It's just on segmentation. So do you know how to create a segment? Yeah, I already used it. Yes, but I have not used it. No, not sure how to start. I didn't know this was needed. or maybe you don't know what a segment is, and then I'll be happy to also clear that up for you. So I'll just wait on the folks. So in the previous Flexmail, you were already able to do segments. So you could make segments with your list that you had. So they're just subcategory, well, they're just more specific and more personalized ways to send to your contacts. So if you have company A is what was one list, you could already make a segment which is maybe more specific to all the French speakers or all the Dutch speakers or all the English speakers. So that's how a segment worked before. Now we just have your previous list becomes the main segment, and then you can make the subsegments in the same way that you can divide the language or any way that you would like to have it triggered and arranged. So again, no structure will be different. So we'll all be good. Okay, I'll just wait a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds, let's say. I think it's clear where we are. And maybe the last one still wants to vote. Then I'll end it now so we can see the overview of what everybody said. So I'll end the poll now, and I'll share the results again with you. There you go. So we can see that they're not sure how to start or why this, or that this was needed, and a few that don't know what a segment is. I hope the explanation that I just gave from a segment was clear. If not, let us know. We're here for you. So not sure how to start. That's a good one, actually. I can understand that if you are not sure how everything goes and why we're now going to a single list, which I hope is clear now. We'll show you how to start. I always say that it's good in any business you have a strategy. So have your strategy with the campaigns and who you're going to send it to, know your target groups, be aware of who your contacts are and what they want to know. I never recommend to just send out everything to all your contacts. It's important to really go with relevant information on the target group that you're going to. So if it's in any industry, it's the same. Even if you use it for internal reasons, that's also a way to that target group, what do they need to know? Be aware of what they want, their preferences and all of that. And then you can go very specific in your segments. And when you create a campaign, you can just select that segment and send it to the individuals and make it in a more personal manner than they think that you're just mass mailing, which doesn't work. As we've all known that we used to get lots of emails and it's too much. So make sure to really have that strategy connected with your business strategy. And then that's how you can start and create the structure that you would like to use on how to send out all your campaigns and to who. So let's go through the criteria of how you can segment. So there's different criteria that you can use to create segments. So these are like triggers. If you have your segment of company A, you can divide them up in subsegments with contact fields. That could be the contact fields like the general one, like the email, the name maybe, I don't know, the date of birth. And then you can also create your custom fields that are more relevant to your business and your company. And you can have a variety of custom fields. It's what you need. If you need a starting date for, if you use it internally for HR, for example, you can make it into when did this person start, make a custom fields and use it that way. You also have the source from where you found or where you got this contact from, which is very important. Again, with the GDPR compliance, it's important to know where you got it. If it's from events, if it's from your store, maybe if you have a showroom that they signed up, that will be a source that it's from there. The event, you can, the name, your website. So anything like that, that will be the source. And that will be a way that you can also segment the contacts on. So you only have the people that were in that event will be having an email that is a follow-up or even an invitation to other events if they were interested in that. Then we have the interests. So it's the interest labels and the preferences. This will be different for each person depending on your membership. So these are extra things, the interest labels that you can change, and you can attach labels to your contacts. It's for internal use to have an overview for yourself. So if you do want more information on this, or if you have the membership that is available for the interest labels, let us know. Or if you're still on credits, we have a lot of new memberships that could be better for you in a budget wise. So we would love to help you further to make sure that you get all the advantages and can create amazing campaigns without overpaying or seeing like that. And then the preferences is the one that your contact can actually change itself. So it's a preference of what they would like to receive. These can be invitations for events. They can be newsletters if they want to receive it or not. It can go more specific if you're in fashion or sports or electronics. It can be anything like that. They can select through the opt-in form. They can select what they would like to receive. And this way you create your target group and then your segment, of course, that you go very specific. This can be the language as well, of course. And then the opt-in and the campaign on what you want to share with them, they can be segmented as well. So that was it for now. I really want to have as much time as I can to go through the live demo. I hope your questions are being answered. If not, in the live demo, I'm sure you'll see it step by step. So just to go back with the segments, it's the same way, the same structure. It's just to make it more personalized and more targeted to your group. To get emails like, it looks like you made emails every single day to every single person. Make them personalized, make the connection with them. And this is where segmentation does the work for you. If you have your database in the strategy and the structure and divide it into segments, you'll have the database work for you, and you don't have to put that much time and effort to try and find which contact should be getting what. So I would say just keep the 80-20, or if you want 90-10 rule in mind, that let the database work for you, and it will be so much easier for you to send out that next campaign. I'm going to start with the contact converter to go through each step by step and show you how it will look like when you go through the contact converter. It will be, I must apologize because it is just like a demo, a prototype, let's say, and it will be in Dutch because I don't have the other language for you to show. So I'll tell you what is on there, no problem. So thank you for understanding. So we'll start with the first screen that you'll see. Here is where they tell you to be GDPR proof and compliant more. The concept of the list will be just now the segment. So no more double contacts in your database. They will just be merged. So no data will be lost. It will just check, and it will also ask you which one is the updated version or information that you would like to keep. We always have the manual links. If you want more information, we have a lot of background information. If you want to know more of that for the GDPR and those kind of things, you can just always click on the link to our manual, and it will explain you more in depth. Here you'll have a few alerts that will just say that right now, if you're going through your contact converter, your campaigns will be just paused. There's nothing gonna happen or delete, or if you go through the new one, it will all be there. It'll just be paused as your workflows and all that. It just be paused to be able to convert everything in the correct way with the error. The other one is, again, the API. Here you'll have the link to see what needs to change. So make sure again to have the person in charge of this with you, or just be aware that you will go through it so they know the changes. But we have a link that will explain every single detail of what you need to know. And of course it says, make sure you're an admin, but normally it's okay. So let's start with then the first step. There you go. So this was the first step that I showed you also in the presentation. You'll have an overview of all your lists. So these are which ones you want to keep and which ones are outdated and old and really not useful to have them anymore. So by default, they will be all checked. So see which one you decided in your strategy you still need. You will just be able to uncheck them or check them. If you do have two lists that might look similar, you can always see the last time you mailed to them to keep up to date which one lists. There's one example here that it's old and useless lists. So I don't want to convert them because I no longer need them. So I'm going to uncheck them, and I just want the 3 of these to go through. So let's keep those lists. Click tap to keep the lists. It will be anonymized, and for each list, you'll be able to select things that you need. So by default, the segment name is the same as your lists. So your structure won't change if you don't adapt it. If your new structure, if you decided to go with that strategy and change the name of the segments, you can do that. I would just advise to keep the same name and then you have the same structure with the segments, how you had your lists. To take the name, again, a link to your manual to ask to see a few extra information that you might want to know. And then we have 2 other ones. So it's a fallback language and a fallback source. The fallback language, it's the language in this segment. If a contact doesn't have a language selected yet, by default, it will get the fallback language. So here you can choose, let's say this one will do Dutch. So again, when your contact does not have a language, it will be set to Dutch if it's in this segment. Then we have the source. Same way, the fallback source will be when there's no source in the contact yet. A contact can have different sources. So the same way, I'll show you as well, an overview of all the sources that this contact might be in. So we'll select this one to events. This will be the fallback source for this segment. Let's go make this list into a segment. And you'll do this for all your lists to make sure that everything is good and the way you want it. You always have an overview of what you've already done. So you've already done one list of the 4 that you would like to convert. There were 78 contacts. So there will be in your new database. And there were 3 segments created. So why we have 1 list and 3 segments created is because the 1 list already had 2 segments filled in. So that 1 list is becoming the segment, the main segment, and then the 2 are becoming the subsegments. That's why we now have 3 segments already created, and it will be in the same structure as before, but the list is now a segment. Let's just change the name and not mention the list after this. It's just 1 list and a lot of segments, which will make your way of work easy, and the same way doesn't change the structure or we'll lose data. So we'll do this again. The fallback, we'll put this one in French. Again, default name, same. And the fallback source, we'll do knowledge center. And we'll convert it again. Here we'll see there might be some conflicts. And this is where if a contact might be twice in the system and has a slight change of information, you can check which one is the correct one and the most updated one. Here it says the name of the company and the family name, surname. these are like not consistent. So which one is right? You just select the one that is correct. This is the correct one. So we'll put, we want to change to this. You will see immediately which one you selected. And you can see with the conflicts what is happening, and just merge, no lose of information, just an update and a cleanup of your contacts, so they will be merged. Or if one has something filled in and the other doesn't, it will be added in. So nothing will be lost, it will just be updated in the way that you already had. And this is to prevent for contacts to be 2 times in the database. Also for the unsubscribe button that you put in your emails. If they unsubscribe in one email, but they get another one, then it's just not really, it's not GDPR compliant. If they already unsubscribed, they should not receive the emails anymore. So it's to have all the information correct and updated into one database. So let's go click next, because I already know that I selected those. Those are the information that was correct and updated. We'll go through this one again, the newsletter. So we'll do Dutch again, and we'll do newsletter as a fallback source. Here, I'll mention it again. You'll see how many lists we've already done from the ones that we need, how many contacts were converted, and then how many segments were created. So let's do again, list, do segment, wait a little bit, and then we get the overview. If we're finished, we did all of them. We'll see the full overview of how many lists with how many contacts were converted and how many segments we have now in our structure. There will be some warnings just to let you know how many people are on the blacklist or your workflow that they've been paused, but they'll start right back up when you go through it. Then the API, again, a link to that manual for the person that is in charge of this. Another very important thing is I've heard that some are nervous to lose the reports that they had before going through the contact converter in the old interface, but the reports will remain there. So even if you go through the contact converter, you'll still have your previous reports available for you. So no worries about that. So no need to worry about losing data. If you do see, oh, there's only 4 lists and I was supposed to do 5, you can click on Forget List and you'll go back to the first screen and see an overview of all your lists. You'll see that these ones are gray and the status is converted to a segment. So if you want to click on the forgotten list, you just click on it and go through the process again. As these are old and useless, I'm not gonna go through it, but I'm gonna wrap up the contact converter or the conversion. So I checked everything, I read everything. It looks, I see that everything is correct. All the segments, okay, everything is there. I'm ready. I'm ready. These are my lists that I wanted. These are my within my strategy. So I'm just gonna wrap it up. Wrap it up. It will ask you to type in a name, a word, sorry, in the exact way that it's written. It will be here on the text. Just it's a message that it's important to know that these are the lists that I want to keep and go through the converter. The other ones are old and I'm not going to use them anymore. So this will be the permanent decision that I make and my selection. So I'm good with it. It's all good because we're prepared and we have the time to go through our contacts to see which ones are old, which one we don't need anymore. And we'll make the selection. Now it's the final one with the languages. As I mentioned very briefly, you can select the languages that you would like to communicate with. So they will be already by default the ones that the system saw that they're in your contacts. But if you are planning already to have other languages within your communication, you can just select them very easily, which ones you would like. So let's keep it with these ones. From all of these that you would like to communicate with, we are going to select again the fallback language for all the contacts that might not have a language set up yet. So let's say it's in English. This will be my fallback. And I confirm my language. And now it's waiting for it to process to get all your contacts and segments converted into the new interface of Flexmail. This will depend, the time will of course depend on the amount of contacts and segments you have in your system, which is very normal. Everybody has a different account and different amount of contacts. So just sit back, relax, and let the computer do the work for you. When it's finished, you'll end up in the new interface. As you can see, the display will be different. It will be different, the dashboard for everyone, as we have all different information. So this is just, again, it's a prototype, so don't look too much into the details, as it might look different when you sign up. I hope this was clear of going through the contact converter. And I think we can now go into the Flexmail and show you a few examples of segmentations and how to create the segments. I already have a few set up. It's in my account, so it won't have as many contacts as you might have, but it's just to give you a clear view on how to use it and how you can create segments, either internal or external. So I'll just go and share that tab of the Flexmail that I have, and we'll go through the tabs so you can see what slightly changed in Flexmail. The use of Flexmail did not change, it's just a different layout and a few different tabs that have been rearranged. We've rearranged it with our customers. That might be some of you that helped us go through and tested out what the easiest one was. We wanted to group everything together that should be together, that you don't have to be tabbing, like clicking everywhere to be able to send your campaigns out. So for example, with campaigns, we have created all the tabs that will include all you need for your campaigns. So it will be the messages, creating the messages, manage your campaign, the reports, we put them all into the specific tabs, and your media library. So all the same, just a blue button now, more modern. I think it's more relaxing, more clean, but that's a personal thing, of course. Then we'll go through the forms. We'll have the forms will be, again, everything that has something to do with the forms, like the opt-in, the survey, the form itself, and then the reports of your surveys and forms. If you have this selection available in your membership, if you would like to, just let us know as well. We'd love to help you out. I'll leave the contact tab for later, as that's where we're going to make the segments for our database. So let's go to automation. Automation, you will find the workflows, the landing pages, which we've changed a little bit up because it's not directly on your campaign or on your message. That's why the landing pages, we put it in automation. And then, of course, the reports will be found there as well. So that's it for the layout and everything that is new. So not very different as before, just a few switch of places. I'm now going to go through the contacts so I can show you those segments and some examples that you might feel that it's useful for you. So within the contacts, we have, of course, our database. So the one database, which is a confirmed one, which went to the double opt-in, you're blacklisted, and then the ones that you haven't response yet. So these are all the ones that I can email to. We have the segments, your interest labels, so those were the labels that you can attach to contacts. That's something internal that you can see and your contacts cannot change. And then we have the preferences, is where your contact can change their preferences and what they would like to receive. And then the reports will be here as well. So let's go through the segments. There you go. So as I said, I already have a few set up just to give you a couple of examples. If you want to go more in depth or more create a strategy with us, we do have that available as well to help you make more strategic structure and consult you in that manner. So let us know if you're interested in that as well. We would love to help you out to go more specific into what your company and your business needs for your campaigns. My first example is a monthly newsletter, which is a general one, I know. It's the easiest way to show you. So these are all the people. I have 7 contacts that are interested to receiving our monthly newsletter. I have made a segment that is the monthly newsletter, and then a subsegment, which are the newsletters, English, newsletter French, newsletter Dutch. Within the newsletter French, I also made another subsegment, which is fashion, which is a more specific newsletter that I would like to send. And these contact, or at least one contact, wants to read about the fashion newsletter. So this is how a segment can work in a structure. And it's the same as your list. So just, this is your, one more time, this was your list. Now it's a segment, and we'll go subsegmenting underneath it. Another example is if you use it for internal communication. I made an example of HR department, sales and marketing department. This so you can see that it's not only good for external things, you also want to keep communicating, especially in these times. It's very important to keep communicating with your team and everybody within the company. So this is a way with HR department that you can send out invitations if it's a meeting or if it's a gathering, or you have new people starting. This can be a very good invitation to show them who's who and give more information. If you do have a larger company that works with different languages, I made the subsegments, which are in English and in Dutch. Another thing for sales and marketing department, they can have their separate tab for their contacts where they send all the promotions or the follow-up of certain things. So this is how you can still use it in an internal manner and still have each department have their own segment to organize. Another example is the events training, which is just very easy. I did it with gender, female and male. So that was the subsegments for this. I'll show you how to do it. I already made one for last webinar. I'll make one now as well, so you can see the step-by-step how to create a segment. So let's create a segment. Just click on the big blue button, create segment. I'm gonna call it, let's do Flexmail. There we go. Just to have a very clear shape. You will be able to then create triggers. So these are the criteria that I was telling you about. Different criteria, which was the contact fields, the source, the interest labels, preferences, the opt-in form, and the campaigns. These are the criteria that you can work with to create this segment. You can go and have more advanced settings. We do have a very good article on our manual as well that will give you a real guide through of everything. But as we're with many, I don't want to confuse too many. I just want to go through the basics so you can understand how to create a segment and how you can create your structure for your company and sending those successful campaigns. I'm gonna start with a very contact field. Let's start with contact fields. We are gonna create it with, as I said, Flexmail segment. We're gonna do it by email address that contains Flexmail, of course, as I made it very specific. So now I haven't clicked enter yet, so it's 0 contacts. And now, there you go. It will be shown that within my database, there's 6 contacts that have an email address that contains Flexmail. This will be my main segment. So I'm just gonna save it and add it in there. Here it is. If you do want to create your own structure, you can, as it will be alphabetically, it will come in the place that it should be in the alphabet. It's a good thing to just add numbers. That's what I do. If I want certain things to be on top, just put 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a nicer overview for you as well, so you know exactly where you can find it and don't have to scroll through all these different segments. It just creates a cleaner view, an easier way to use it. Let's go back to the Flexmail segment, which we have here. We have the 6 contacts that are already in this segment. And I want to create a subsegment from this to go more in depth, more personalized emails, to really go into that interest and preferences that they would like to see in their mailboxes. So we can make it more relevant. I want to create on the Flexmail segment, I want to create a subsegment. So you click on the cartwheel and the information will appear what you can do with this segment. So you can display the contacts, see which contacts are in there, export contacts, create a segment, edit your segment if you want to change the triggers. That is possible as well. You can duplicate if you use that same base for a lot of segments. You can just duplicate it, change the name, and you don't have to keep clicking the same trigger over and over again. It's very easy. You can, of course, delete the segment. We're now going to create the subsegment through the cartwheel. So there you go. So now with the subsegment, we already have by default in this segment that it has to have an email that contains Flexmail. So we will go into more specific ones. We'll go, as I said, it's for interest. So we'll do, let's do the interest labels of newsletters for these people. Newsletter. We'll select the language afterwards. We want to go through an interest label. So this is a label that I put on my contacts. And as we're talking about this subsegment with newsletter, I'm gonna do the newsletter, which is a little bit mix of everything, of lots of languages, but there you go. We have now 5 contacts instead of 6 contacts in this subsegment. I do wanna go with the newsletter. I would like to go more specific and add a language to it. The language will be in your contact field. You can just select a contact field that you would like. In this case, we want to select a language. There you go. And the language equals to, let's say, Dutch. So now we'll have 3 contacts in this subsegment. This is what I want. It's very specific. I want these people to have email address that contains Flexmail, yes, an interest label that they want to have the newsletter, and they have to have the Dutch language into their contact fields. I want to save this up because these contacts will be emailed in a very specific manner. There you go. So now we created from the segment a subsegment, just the way you did before. Now it's just all segments. We wanna, I'll show you another one. The subsegment again. So we'll go in the Flexmail segment. Again, we're gonna create a subsegment now. And we'll go through the preferences. The preferences are the ones that your contacts can change themselves and tell you what they would like to receive. It's a great way to personalize emails. You can really into a very relevant content and they will love it. They will love you for it. So they only read the things that they really want to know about your company and be surprised that you're so interested in what they would like ask them questions. Ask them questions what they would like to receive, what they would like to see in the next email. This is the only way that you can get to know your contacts in a more in-depth way. So we'll go through preferences. Preferences will do, let's do sports. Okay, sports has 5 contacts. We'll go, maybe I'll add the preference of another preference. It's not only sports, but also the people that have all promotions on. Those are all the people that I would like to send to, because this email will be about sports about all our promotions. And we'll add a language because now we have 5. I like to have people get emails in their own language. It's always nicer that you don't have to go through the trouble of trying to translate all the words. It just reads easier. So I only have, I'm gonna put sports or, I only have 1 contact that has and the preference of sports and an all promotions and the language English. So I wanna make this list a little bit more broader, and I wanna say that they should have sports or all promotions. You can just click here and change the or, and now we see that it's again 5 contacts, and I'm very happy with this one. So I'll save this as well. So there are very different ways that you can create the segments and the subsegments. Look what worked for you, make a strategy with your team, what they would like to see and what they would like to send out in the next year or a year and a half. It depends on how your schedule works, of course, or your timeline. But it's important, if you know your structure, it's super easy to make, and the database will work for you, which is, in the end, is what we all want, something to work for us and the technology that we have. I'm gonna create, to show you that you can also make a subsegment of this subsegment. The same way, it's clicking on the cartwheel, creating a segment, and we'll go now into the preference of female, just to show you quickly so we have time for the Q&A still. We'll put the gender equals to female, and there we go, it's 3 contacts. We'll save it, and you will see here that I created these segments in a very easy way and with different triggers. So that's all that there is with the segments. If you do have more questions, let us know, of course, or if you want a strategy, we can help you with that. Before I go into the Q&A, I just want to go quickly to the manual so you see how easy it is to find stuff on there. So you just click on support, and it will guide you through this very bright and happy color of manual. You can find all of the information here. We have the what to know, which is a background information of everything that you need to know if you want to know more about contact converter, the GDPR, or why the segments, or all of that. You can find it in what to know. And the how-to-dos are a step-by-step guide with screenshots that will help you with any stuff that you're doing, like the segments. I'll show you that one. We'll go first with let's do the contact converter. Contact. It will appear all the things that might be relevant to you. There we go. So how can I prepare myself for contact converter? Might be something that you really want to know, as we were all waiting for that time. So there's a full explanation. There's even more articles to understand why and how to do it. I want to show you the how-to-dos, for example, for segmentation. There we go. Create a segment. And as you can see, it's a step-by-step guide on how to create a segment like the advanced settings I mentioned. It will show you, explain to you all the things that you can do and what to rules, so it's super easy to have it with you while you're making a segment. You can go look it up and go more in specific things. So again, the manual is super handy to use and has lots of information that you might have a quick answer to. If you do have more, then you just let us know. So this was for the live demo. I hope you had lots of questions that are answered now. And I'm gonna go back to our presentation and go into the Q&A. I'm gonna check, I'm sure throughout the presentation, Claudia and Bart were able to help you with your questions, but I'm gonna check if there's a few open questions that I might be able to answer. And if not, then we'll go into, I think then the time is up, but I'll check a few of the questions and answers that have been already answered by Claudia and Bart. Maybe there are some extra questions. So that might be a good one. I'm not sure if you're going through the questions as well, but there's no time limit yet on when you should convert. We just want you to, if you're ready or if you need a little bit more time, let us know. We want to communicate with you and see how we can work for you as well, to see what the best timing is. Maybe right now this month or this day, let's say, is not the best time. Just let us know. We can communicate together and see what solution we can find. It's just for you to be fully GDPR compliant, again, to have that clear, clean database and know exactly where your contact's at. It's just to support you. But let us know, communicate with us on what your thoughts are, your concerns maybe, and we can always find a solution. So I think there's no more questions. I'm gonna check one more time. No. Okay, so there's no more questions, which I hope that means that it was clear and you got your questions answered. Again, if you do have more questions that popped up or were more in a personal manner for your business, let us know. Here's my information. You can contact us and we can set up a call if that's the easiest way to show you, and maybe go into your account and you can show us what exactly is you're struggling with, or maybe you can always share a success story. We love hearing those as well, that your contacts are super happy with your campaigns, because you're putting lots of effort in and making sure that you provide them with all the information that they would like. So I really want to thank you for your time and being here and your interest to participate in this webinar. I hope everything is clear. If not, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to support you. And I wish you all a very great day. And if there's sunshine, enjoy the sunshine, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much. Bye.